I again reached out to the Hsus shelter, was given Renee Poirier, and I was told that they did not need help and there was not people there who needed help, could not help themselves. They didn't have food. They didn't have food for them. They didn't have food for their animals. They had no place to stay. They were trying to stay with relatives. I was told to tell them to contact animal control, that they had it. There was plenty of food. I was told so many times, there's plenty of food, nobody needs food. I couldn't get any food. I asked a few times for vaccinations to help with the animals we were taking in that were owner surrendered, ones that people had brought to us, that I had explained that there were people who evacuated from Hsus Parish. They were struggling, they needed help, and in some instances, people who had 10 animals, pets, they couldn't keep that many pets in the household with their families. Could we please help take these animals? Every time we take an intake, we have an intake protocol, and it's fairly rigorous, and they require vaccinations and spay neuter. So each animal is an expense on our nonprofit. I asked for the help that I was told was there, to ask Gina Troxler and St. Charles Parish, who had received some disaster response, and that I could get those supplies from her. Again, I was told I'm not the responding organization, that animal control has it under control, they do not need help, and that I am to tell people, no matter where they are, if they want to surrender their animal, they have to surrender it to animal control if they want to get help, because they would not help me help people. It is completely nonsensical to me, because why does animal control want animals? That doesn't even begin to make sense, because we pull animals from animal control organizations all over this state.
Mega adoption event in the country.
Keep you updated on all the news here on Facebook. We're going to be on Instagram. So come on down, adopt if you already have a full house.
Red Arm.
I'm Wanda Merling from the Humane Society of the United States, and we're here today transporting over 90 dogs that were available for adoption before Hurricane Michael impacted the Gulf Coast area here in Florida.
This is Amber
And Brooklyn.
Volunteers for Compassion Kind and Lake Charles Pit Bull Rescue. We've been here since
August 27th. August 27th.
Hurricane Laura. The boots on the ground, doing animal rescues. Many trials and tribulations to start with right after the hurricane, when animal control didn't have a plan to set anything up, nor any information. I personally went up to the staging area. There was no EOP there. I was given a phone number and never got a return phone call. LSART was not there. No one was at animal control as they claim. I made phone calls. I even called our state representative's office, who actually started calling Hsus Parish Animal Control to try to help get something going, because they refused to give Compassion Kind an MOU to come in and help be boots on the ground, even though they were contacted and had the offer for Compassion Kind to set up on the premises and work hand in hand with them. They refused help because they said they did not need it. And in that statement of not needing it, between Hurricane Laura and Hurricane Delta, we had, what, 320
At least.
cats and dogs? Not to mention the dogs that had puppies and the medical cases. We've had so many heartworm positive dogs that are getting treated. Everybody's got microchipped. Vetting is done, shots. We've had dogs that had to have hip surgeries. It hasn't been easy to come by. Help hasn't been easy to come by. I personally talked to Dick Green on the phone, on his cell phone actually, and he could not answer any questions. He sent me to, actually he handed the phone to Renee Poirier with Elsort, who was very, very rude, and eventually hung up on me, which is fine because I don't need her help and she can't shut me down, so we'll just leave it at that. They did call in ASPCA. I didn't personally go out there, but they were not here long, and they definitely did not take many animals because they were being sent to us. We've had people come in looking for their lost animals and crying because they could not find their animals. The pet harbor site that Animal Control has set up has horrible pictures on it of animals through cages, blurry, that you can't even tell what they are. No pictures of pit bulls on there. You have to call the number. They wanted these pet owners to text message a picture of their pet to try to compare to a pet that they have at the Animal Control. If they did not think that they had any animal matching these pictures, then they told these owners that their dog wasn't there. They're not allowing anybody up, still to this point, no one is allowed to walk through, even with a worker, to view the dogs there and make sure that their pet is not there. I don't know now if their excuse is COVID. I don't know before it was that their building was damaged, which it did sustain damage, but if the building is that damaged and you can't let me walk through with one of your workers, then it shouldn't be housing any animals, and it shouldn't be housing any workers. So evidently it's not that damaged. What else? We couldn't get any MOUs. We cannot, still to this point, cannot get an MOU, even to get a grant for help. Someone actually found a dog and brought him here 2 weeks ago to us, and has family that works for the Animal Control, and this woman called her family at the Animal Control and was still told that they cannot take any animals unless they are in dire medical need or they're super aggressive.
That they have actually bitten someone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're actually aggressive, if they have physically bitten a person. Doesn't matter if it's a dog, it has to be a person.
Right. So in other words, they're not picking up any animals. If he's running in your neighborhood, hope he doesn't get your dog pregnant, and hope he doesn't bite anybody, because then they'll be aggressive, even though he's probably just starving and running loose, causing havoc. Then there's a problem, so that they can just pick them up and euthanize them. All the funding they get, I don't particularly understand why this parish can't even have a shelter that's a no-kill shelter, because we've moved probably close to 400 animals just since Hurricane Laura that have been getting tons of funding. EPAR, I will say their name, EPAR, Jen Shaw in Mamu actually got a dog. His name was Max, from the Kinder Shelter, Animal Control pound, whatever they want to call that little building they have. The dog was never scanned. He was not there for 3 days or 5 days. She took him into her rescue, did not scan him, sent him with health certs that were from we don't know where, saying that he had no chip, and he made it all the way on transport to Florida, where he was in quarantine, and he was not scanned when he got there before he went into quarantine. The only way that we found this dog for this owner and her children were his picture posted on petfinder.com for adoption. So this has brought many things to light. One being the fact that through all the people that I've talked to, including the assistant director of animal control and LSART and Dick Green, was that nobody can tell me where I can find a copy of Calcasieu Parish Animal Control's emergency preparedness, disaster preparedness. They have none. They have nothing drawn up. They have nothing in print. They have nothing in writing. And as a tax-paying citizen, that kind of upsets me. And I feel that I could probably do a better job than him at this point. So our battle has been our lack of, from local government officials, from local police jury, from their lack of, caused many other animal rescues to come in right after the storm and haul off with animals. We've seen pictures, I've seen pictures right after the hurricane of animals with rabies tags still on, and that one particular rescue has deleted that post, and I have no clue where those animals are or if these owners were ever reunited with any of those animals. But they have requested funding, and they get a lot of funding, but they do not house any dogs. And
We do a lot of leg or hand work. Amber and myself and Alex and just all the people that have been doing this go through and join all the lost and found pets and search through all the pictures and see if we have anything, see if we can find any rescues that we have known to work with, see if any of those animals match. That's how we found Max and found other animals.
yeah, we have
another one.
Gypsy in there.
We called her Gypsy. She was missing since Laura. Someone called and said, oh yeah, we tried, but now she's pregnant and we don't want her anymore. So we took her in, and not even a week, and we have already found the owners. They've been posting regularly on those Facebook pages. So that's another thing that we do that apparently nobody else does.
When the Animal Control Center, Bay County Animal Control, opened up, I was dealing with them. We went there multiple times. I want to say about 25 times to both places. Probably about the 23rd time, he told me, do not come back. We drove for 10 hours until we found a place to stay. We took our dog, Sugar Bear. He went with us, of course, because this is a member of our family. We took him with us so he was safe, because he is just a part of our family, just like my kids. And all of a sudden, he come up missing. Neighbors and people that live in my area stated that they seen an organization coming in and picking up dogs, and I would never see him again. If we don't have him back, then the family's not complete. Bark, you know your bark after 7 years. We heard a bark, and they said that it was not safe for us to go back there. A dozen times we went up there, we wasn't allowed back there due to no power. When they got power, we was not allowed to go back there still. And we left there thinking they had our dog, but when they won't let you in, we don't know what else to do.
I have a teddy bear.
Speak up. It's okay. She sleeps with him every night. He goes to the doctor with her, believe it or not.
I was going through my phone, and lo and behold, I see little Joe's picture. And they had a cone on his head, and I could tell it was him. And they said they neutered him, and that he's here. And so I went, and as soon as I could get out there, we couldn't call there because there was no phone lines. And I said, I'm here to get Joe, and they're like, well, who's Joe? And I said, little Joe, he's in the picture. And of course, I couldn't find the darn picture right then. But they said, oh, well, he's been adopted out. I go, adopted out? It's 6 days. We just had a hurricane. And it's been 6 days. You know, it was 6 days. And they said, well, 3 days is the limit. I said, wait, there's a hurricane. People didn't even have no service. My brother has no car to get around or anything. So I was beside myself with that. I didn't know what to do. I was flipping out. They asked us to leave. My husband said, how do you do that? How can you just give a dog away, you know? And there's no phone lines to tell you that we missed our dog, or our dog was missing. And, you know, he said, I want my dog. And they said, well, it's too bad. He's been adopted out.
Organizations, have you heard anything about these big organizations
Coming down and taking all the dogs away. I've tried everywhere. But like I said, I found his picture on the website. He was there. His name is Joe. I said he had a collar on. He even had a collar on where his address was. Out to them and said, you know, look, you got to help us try to get this dog back. This my brother's dog, you know, and it means the world to him. And we just had a hurricane. I don't know, but they were rude, very rude people. I want Joe to become home for him because he's just been sick ever since.
Basically, I have heard stories locally here where their pets come up missing and they can't find them, or a whole non-profit organization doing search wide on Oak Avenue right behind us.
My name's Troy Harden. We had a name tag on him if anything happened to him to call here where I work. And she had located where he had been taken. Bay County Rescue or
Bay County Animal Control?
Animal Control, yeah. And they wouldn't give her, they wouldn't release anything and all. And,
But they admitted she was there, or he was there.
They said they. And I got a friend of mine to drive me out, and we offered to pay double whatever they had done. You know, they admitted they had it all. They seen the tag and said I had to get it within 24 hours or something. Well, I don't have any transportation and the phones are out. I've been calling you over and over. A friend of mine took me back out there a couple of days later, and the same thing. Director's name.
Kathy,
and a card and everything.
another family in.
We actually went I was in active labor, so they flighted me out from Gulf Coast Regional Medical Center into Fort Walton Beach. We had pictures. I had the landlord coming over feeding the dogs, watering the dogs. Had a roommate that was feeding and watering the dogs. The 27th, they left a note saying that they was taken, and left a note saying that it was Hurricane Michael. Claimed they didn't know the name of them, but they had been to my house so many times before they knew exactly who my dogs were. They took both of them. I do know that they euthanized Chloe. On February the 8th, they would be 1 year old. They renamed Diamond Biscuit. They had her microchipped. I've traced the microchip, and they do have my name down as her owner.
Okay.
Biscuit, I actually had a lady go to the shelter and found her. And
What
I
did
have
you?
the paperwork, a picture of it she sent me, of the microchip number, all that. They spayed her, the whole 9 yards, and they renamed her Biscuit.
Oh.
They took the mama dog to both of them, Chloe and Diamond, are owners.
Okay.
But I know that Bay County has taken people's service dogs and adopted them out.
17, my cat Casper, who was a pure white cat, was trapped in Bay County Animal Control. I called up there 2 hours later. Animal Control people told me he had already been neutered and adopted out. I told them they would soon be hearing from my attorney over the matter. I went down there a couple days later to talk to Kathy Beatson, the manager of Animal Control. She was extremely rude and not helpful at all. I asked just the information to the farmer that supposedly adopted him so I could get my cat back. She refused to give me his number. She refused. Eventually I took Animal Control to court, to small claims court. Approximately 4 or 5 months later, the county attorney a pure white cat who has just had surgery and raised ever since he was a kitten inside, stands no chance whatsoever of living. You know, and Miss Beatson knew this. She should have never put him in that position. She knew he was not a feral cat when she did this. This woman in no way, shape, form, or fashion should ever be allowed to be in the position she is in. And as an American vet, that cat was my pet. That was my baby. I'd had him ever since the day he was born, raised indoors. Miss Beatson knew this. She's done this dozens of times to dozens of people. They need to put an end to it. Thank you.
Society of North Texas, one of our absolute favorite shelters in the world, as we are flying 77 dogs from shelters in northern Texas to safety at St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center and more.
The animals. We believe our work speaks urgently to the problems of the planet and all of its inhabitants. Our vision is a world where sympathy and compassion are the norm for animals and people alike. We're laying the foundation for that by taking the fight to the largest and most serious threats to animals.
On Friday morning, arranged to transport more than 200 cats and around 20 dogs who had been in shelters in areas impacted by Hurricane Michael via airplane to Portland, Oregon and Seattle, Washington.
Communicating with the public about their donations for disasters is key, and we are proactive about it.